pleasure to give you a short introduction to the situation of self-help groups and self-help support in Austria. And I want to begin with a brief introduction into Austria and its healthcare system. Austria is divided in 9 provinces, including Vienna as its capital, and it has approximately 8 million inhabitants, 8 million people. That's about a tenth of Germany, just for comparison. And as you can see in this position, in Austria we often compare to Germany, especially in terms of self-help group and self-help group support. And I think you'll see a lot of similarities compared to Germany. But there are some differences also. The healthcare system is financed through income-based social insurance and public funds, which are generated through taxes. And the social health insurance covers almost 100% of the people living in Austria. And patients in Austria, or people in Austria, have a very free choice in choosing where they want to go if they are sick. They can go to a general practitioner, they can go to hospitals, they can go to specialized physicians which are specialized for certain kinds of illness. So they're very free in their choice, but sometimes this leads to misguiding content like this. I have a common definition of self-help groups in Austria, but I don't want to go through it right now because it's quite the same as we have in Germany. Most self-help groups, I would say up to 99%, are open self-help groups. It was very interesting for me to listen to the situation in Finland yesterday, because it's a bit different. They also have these closed groups, to my opinion, more often than in Austria. It was interesting. And it was also interesting that in Austria, if you are talking about self-help groups and they stop, because maybe, like in Finland, they say, well, we are through with our things. We can stop our meetings now. In Austria, it would be a kind of, if you do not succeed, in Austria you have a picture that if you set up a self-help group, it should run for years and years and years, and new member join the group and stuff.
It was Norway, it was not Finland, it was Norway.
Oh, excuse me.
Just to avoid confusion.
Thank you very much. Yeah, if there are any questions, please interrupt me immediately. I have some slides with some numbers. We've had a scientific study in 2008, and it was really, really very helpful for the situation in Austria to have these data and facts from the study. Especially talking with politicians, it's always very helpful if you have a third party's statement on self-help group. And it helped a lot, pushing self-help and self-help support forward in Austria. We have approximately 1,600 self-help groups, and there are about 20 groups per 100,000 inhabitants. And you can divide them into main problem areas, but 66% cover somatic illness problems, and 1/3 has to do with psychological problems and social problems. We also use the different two terms, self-help groups and self-help organizations. Self-help groups working locally, they are focused on the problems of the member, focusing on the problems the members in the group have, and we have self-help organizations which working on a broader geographical range. They are more orientated on problems outside the group in terms of introducing the problem to physicians and talking with policies and doing public relations and things like that. Here you can see some interesting data about the people that set up the self-help groups on the left side. And it's obvious that there are three different parties who take part in setting up self-help groups. First of all, the persons who are directly affected by the problem. Then, on the second place, interestingly, it's qualified persons, most times physicians. There is a very strong connection between self-help groups and physicians in Austria, although the groups work on their own, but they always try to get in contact with physicians because they can gather information, things like that. And in third place, the self-help support groups. So these are multiple answers. And the common activities are quite the same as you might expect. It's exchange of experience, it's giving advice to persons that come to the group, it's also organizing information for the member of the groups in terms of asking physicians to give a representation. It's also support in urgent crises, very often as you can see here, and also meetings where you just come together and chat. The slide shows you the financial situation of the self-help groups in Austria. You can see that most groups are working with 2,000 euros per year. And money comes from funding, either public or private. And now I want to tell you something about the self-help support on the province level. As mentioned before, we have 9 provinces. And the support of self-help groups is organized within these provinces and carried out by local self-help clearinghouses. And there are 2 different types of clearinghouses. And I think there are about 13 clearinghouses or contact centers in Austria. And the 2 types are, one of them is, I think that's very special for Austria or for Europe. It's self-organized associations. We call it Vereine, and I don't know what the really English expression is for Vereine, maybe.
I think associations.
Associations, yeah. So they are established by local self-help groups, and they come together and they vote for representatives of their groups. Yeah? Okay. And they also have employed people working for these associations. And on the other hand, you have non-profit organizations that also support the work of self-help groups. Main activities, so information, public relations, financial support, assistance to the groups, also sometimes counseling. These are classic tasks as Jürgen Matzer described it yesterday, and also trying to give a self-help friendly climate within the province. The financing of these clearinghouses comes through public fundings, public from each province or from the health insurance institution, and differs from province to province. It's not the same in every province. There are differences. At the federal level, above all of Austria, we have the A.P.Th. Selbsthilfe Österreich. She was set up in 2001, I think, and since 2010, the A.P.Th. Selbsthilfe Österreich is organized as an association. The members are 9 self-help clearinghouses, one clearinghouse within each province, and 37 self-help organizations which are working on a specific problem nationwide. And there's 2 main tasks. It's representing the interests of the members, and they are working hard on a systematic funding of self-help organizations, because the situation for self-help organizations in Austria is that there is no systematic funding. If you're lucky, you get money from the public. If you're not, you don't get money. So,
excuse me, do you have any other system who gives this financing, like gambling money or something like that?
yeah, but not in a systematic form. Some organizations manage to get money from other funds,
Yes.
but it's not systematic. The groups, the organizations are on their own. They have to run from one door to another, ask for money.
Are they called self-help organizations, or are they for handicapped or mental illness? Do they have purpose? Do they say it in their titles?
The situation is that handicapped people have a very strong representation organizations within Austria, and they are separated from self-help groups. In Austria, if you talk from self-help groups, you don't mean handicapped people. They have their own organizations and they have good funding.
Nice.
But we're talking about self-help groups, it's about illness. And so often groups have to go to the pharmaceutical industry where they get money in, I don't have to tell you, problems. So the challenges we face in Austria on a federal level is we're trying to anchor self-help as an authorized representation of patients within the health sector, within the health system. The health system in Austria is shaped by the organizations that finance the health system and by the organizations that work in the health system, physicians, kinds of this. But the patients have very little possibilities to influence the decisions shaping the health system. It is known that patients could offer could help to improve the health system, but not without support in terms of money, in terms of resources. And we have another institution in Austria, it's called patient advocacies. They work as advocacies for patients, and they are included in shaping the health system. They do a good job, but they have another perspective when the patients are organized in self-help groups. And the second challenge, of course, is trying to get financing for the self-help organizations on a federal level. And yeah, you can see that self-help groups in Austria are still increasing, both on a local and then a national level. And there's a main topic in Austria right now, it's health literacy. There's this European health literacy study, which shows that the health literacy of Austrian people is below compared to most European countries. And this is also a great chance for self-help groups, especially self-help organizations, to get money by doing projects in this specific field. That's it.
If anybody wants to ask something, Andreas, he's available.
I have a question.
Wait, just a minute for the microphone.
Just the last thing, the target group, European literacy, I didn't get it.
Yeah.
What's that?
There was a big study within several countries in Europe looking on how good health literacy is within the people, health literacy.
Perhaps you better explain what health literacy is. What's that?
Okay. It means how good are people in terms of making the right health decisions. For example, are the people capable to read the text given with medicines? Do the people know where they have to go if they are sick? Things like this.
Competence in using the system. Literacy means reading and writing. And
Yeah, that's what I...
So a basic cultural technique to use the system. Yes.
Again, coming back to the health literacy study, from that you mentioned that citizens were below the average. Were there recommendations in that study of how to deal with the problems that people were below average for the health literacy? Understanding where to go, what to do.
No, I'm not sure if there were these things, but the study had a great impact in Austria. One reason is because one of the lead of the study is from Austria, and I think it's interesting for countries to improve their health literacy, because there's a lot of money being lost of people using the health system unguided. And so in Austria there are a lot of projects and but on a nationwide level going on in this topic.
Yes, of course.
May I give you a concrete example from Germany? We have traditionally so-called clinical guidelines, which means it tells the experts, the doctors, how to treat rheumatism, diabetes, depression, etc. And since a couple of years, we have as a standard a patient version of the guidelines, which are shorter, without references, 10,000 references, in easy to understand language, etc. So that is one of the directions, because Germany was below the average as well. As I just have in the microphone, may I ask something? No, it's not a question, it's a comment rather. In the beginning of your presentation, you divided the self-help groups in two subdivisions. One was related to somatic diseases, and the other one was to psychological and social affairs. No problem, you can do that. Another possibility is to include the so-called psychological things into the disease section, because what you were talking about, I guess, was like anxiety disorder, depression, etc. These are diseases. They are included in the International Classification of Diseases. If we do that, and we are free to make our decision, if we do that, then the health sector within the self-help group panorama goes up to 90% or so, according to German experience. So it's a tactical question. For example, the German National Clearinghouse, they behave like you do. They put all psychological things under social or psychosocial. Whereas I am more embedded in the world of medicine, including psychotherapy. Psychotherapy in German, it's part of medicine, right? So I only want to stress that open question.
Maybe a short comment on this. I think in Austria we have the tradition to divide these two sectors, and it's interesting because you find this division if you look on projects in the healthcare system, for example, improving patient orientation. And now you almost always find projects that focus on somatic diseases, but the psychological diseases are left on the other side. Yeah?
Yeah.
And it's argumented that it's so special and it's a thing for itself and it's not comparable with the somatic diseases and the treatment of these diseases. But yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Just a short one, because we're running out of time. I have to be...
I have a question concerning the financing of self-help groups and clearinghouses. You mentioned that there is a policy paper for the legal establishment. So I just wonder, what is it about and where are you with this policy paper in Austria? Will it be like in Germany with the health insurance? That there will be a part of it given to the self-help support?
We are discussing with the political representatives. Yeah, you understood. Representatives. And to my opinion, the money will come from the health ministry, the biggest part of it. The AG Self-Help itself gets funding from the health ministry, social ministry, and a fund which belongs to the health ministry. And the social insurance is highly interested in the work of self-help groups, but there are no signs that they are going to pay for the work. And the legal establishment maybe is something different. It's really the aim of the legal establishment is to have the possibility to take part in shaping the healthcare system. And I think the prior activities of AG will be financing, because we have the interesting thing that self-help support on a national level is driven bottom-up. And nowadays we can see that the groups, self-help organizations, are not very happy that AG gets money from health ministry, and the self-help organizations that are members in the AG Self-Help don't get So there are some tensions, and I'm looking forward how this story will go on. Could be that the self-help organizations say we go out of the army and set up our own organization. I think it would be similar to Germany. But maybe the AG is able to manage these tensions and can hold both parties together, the clearinghouses and the self-help organizations. Still, it's very interesting in the next months.